Most people don't do the sort of retirement planning they should. I am amazed that I say to people, do you know what your living expenses are? Not really. Well, have you done any forecasting towards retirement? Oh, no. How much money do you think you might need in retirement? Not sure. Can we talk about something else, Jeff? Well, let's just talk about this for 1 second. Okay, the average Australian retires and they haven't paid off their residential mortgage. In fact, they owe $165,000 on their residential mortgage on average, and the first thing they do with their super is they use some of that super to pay out whatever's necessary on their residential loan, because they know that they need to own that house outright when they retire, because they don't want to keep paying the mortgage. So they've got a mortgage that they haven't been able to satisfy potentially. They now use some of their super, and then whatever's left from that super gets divided out year by year by year by year. Of course, you're earning some money and there's some structure involved in that. But if you look at all of the average figures in this beautiful country that we live in, people work for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. They work for all of that time and they retire and they don't have enough to show for it. And then they don't get to do some of those magic things that they may wish to do. It's called a retirement gap. So let's do some very simple maths and say, potentially we're going to live, hopefully, for 15, 20, 25, or medicine's advanced a lot, maybe 30 years. Let's just say 20 years. And maybe we need per annum, at that point in time in our life, not including travel or grandchildren or anything else we really want to do that's a whole lot of fun, maybe we need 30,000 a year or 40,000 a year or 50,000 a year or 60,000 a year if you're a couple. Or maybe a bigger number, but let's just use 60,000 a year and let's just use 20 years, and that's some sort of a nest egg that can produce 1.2 million in retirement. What I know is this: if you check your super balance, you're probably not on track for 1.2 million. If you check your residential mortgage, you may or may not be on track to have that paid off by the time you retire. What I do know is this: if you considered an investment property and you put some money into an investment property now, by the way, the equity release that you did from your residential mortgage, the usual way, you'll have that equity straight away in your investment property, and then it sits there whilst you keep working. You get some great tax deductions. The taxman and the tenant are paying for it if you've done it correctly on a new house and land package. You're saving 15,000 odd of depreciation per year. You've got extra income coming in, and it's just quietly sitting there in the background, being paid for, possibly contributing positive cash flow to your residential mortgage to help you pay it off quicker. And by the time you retire, you own an asset. Now, I don't mind how slow the property market was. I'd rather pick the right area and get fantastic growth in the property market. But either way, you've made 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. The property calculator, property market, property cycle, any of those you wish to Google, says that typically speaking, if you buy a house in a good area that meets some criteria, we use the 22-point criteria, then in actual fact, after 5, 6, 7 or 8 years, maybe 9 or 10, the value of that house has doubled. And it is statistically likely that you don't owe the bank more money for something that has doubled in value. So if you want to know a fantastic reason to grab an investment property with the lazy equity that's sitting in your residential mortgage, number one, it's going to grow in the background and help you with your retirement. And number two, it just might help you pay off your residential mortgage 5, 6, 7, 8 years earlier than if you don't do an investment property. Now, I know you think I said that round the wrong way, but I didn't. Buying an investment property which goes up in value can help you pay off your residential mortgage faster and is likely to be producing more money than your super. You'll work for 40 years if you do the maths. Most people with 1 or 2 investment properties for more than 5, 6 or 7 years are going to have a lot more money to retire on from what's happened in their investments than what has happened in that lifetime of superannuation contributions. Do some maths, get some information,